Hello, Karen here from Emerging Soul Tarot with a pick a card read. White Light Oracle we're using. So choose a card that draws you in, that you intuitively want to hear the read. You can pick more than one, and if the pile you picked didn't resonate, you can choose another. So we have pile 1 here with a clear crystal, quartz crystal, pile 2 with the selenite, pile 3 with the rose quartz, and pile 4 with the citrine. Okay, so pause the screen if you need to make your choice, and I'll start with pile 1 and the quartz crystal. Hello, pile 1. You chose the clear quartz crystal. Okay, we'll have a look what's here. If it doesn't resonate or anything in the read doesn't resonate, just leave it. What have you got first of all? Alpha of Alcyon, our beautiful brightest star in the Palladian. I always say Palladian. Pallades is Alcyon. In the mythology, she was married to Ceres. And she's actually known as the goddess of grace and mercy. So her and her husband, they had a great love. The mythology goes, a great love for each other, and such a beautiful card. But they called each other Zeus and Hera. And the story goes that Zeus got really annoyed, basically sent a huge storm, drowned her husband, and in her despair she threw herself in the sea and drowned herself. But the other gods had mercy and a lot of compassion for them both, and turned them both into kingfishers. And she's also associated with the halcyon days either side of the winter solstice. So the legend goes that there are no storms, there's just calm, so that the kingfishers can nest. But basically the message of this oracle is about grace in the middle of challenge and loss. So strength and ability to connect back with optimism when we're challenged or we've suffered loss. It's very hard, very difficult to connect back with our optimism, and that's despite the external circumstances. So the oracle is not about the circumstances immediately changing, but about gaining your strength and looking brighter. She's the brightest star, so it's that, seeing the strength. But there are promises of love and deep connection to your true self, your higher self and source. So if you're in challenge, we put her in the middle. She's very beautiful. If you're in the middle of challenge or loss, and that can apply to an awful lot of us, given the last year or so, it really is that sense of being able to find strength, courage, optimism, and to be able to look past the external circumstances. So pile 1, you seem to be a message of hope here. So your next card from the 7 Energies deck is Earth Energy, a deep breath. So this is about, funnily enough, a genuine expectation of danger, when we've got a fear of danger, but it's spot on. Our intuition is telling us that. Or it can be the projection of threat, when we're asked to step out. Maybe we're being asked to step out and it's a huge challenge. So radical trust and a leap of faith, but there's that fear. But it can also be about that fight or flight feeling, you know, fight, flight, freeze feeling, and that inability to focus. But the oracle speaks about trusting universal source to release the fear to. So whether it's particular challenge in your life, whatever that challenge is, or it's a fear of stepping out, or you have fear because of the challenge, this is about trusting and releasing that fear. You know, sometimes we have challenging situations because you know, we have a soul lesson to learn, so we go through the challenge to be able to find that strength and courage. So it seems a very similar message here, but this is more about releasing the fear, trusting the universe. This is about the grace and strength to do what is needed in the middle of that challenge. It's about respite, and it's about optimism. So yeah, courage. If you're in the middle and you have to take a leap of faith, courage. You need to ask source or your higher self, whatever you believe in, for courage. But that grace is there because of this Alcyon. And your last card, is gratitude. So again, this is Soul's Lesson deck. This is from Oracle deck. And this is about being thankful for life and the opportunities that it presents. So it's looking here like there's a sense of challenge or loss or fear, but this is about gratitude too. So it's about expressing gratitude for what has been, what will be, but most of all about who you are, you know. And it's also a card that when we have that gratitude for all those things, it brings insight and understanding. So I guess Spirit's saying there's grace and strength and respite available right in the middle of whatever this challenge is. But if you focus on the gratitude rather than the fear can rise up but then be released. So yeah, interesting. So all those of you who are challenged, or you're in a storm, and that storm can be anything, pile one, you know, it's general read this, so you know, you'll know what that is, but this is what Spirit wants to bring a message about. So we'll pull some tarot and see what else comes for us. Okay. Right, so we have the Four of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and Temperance. Beautiful. So yeah, kind of reflecting under your deep breath and that sense of you know, trust in the universe. We have this Four of Wands, which is about homecoming, and it can be homecoming, real homecoming, or it can be homecoming of the soul. It can be a physical, you going home or someone returning home, or yeah, the return of soul to source. This is the Jewish chopper, so it's about union. So it's celebration, reunion, union, homecoming. Okay, so if your challenge, this Alcyon thing, and here with the deep breath, is that there's a sense that Spirit is saying have gratitude, you know, focus on focus on the optimum outcome that you want for whatever this situation is, and give gratitude that if you're watching this read, you've got strength because you're still looking for signs of hope, but give gratitude for what you have and what you want it to be. Because here we have this beautiful Ace of Pentacles, and this is under the Alpha of Alcyon. So this is a gift from Source, you know, and it, you know, we're talking about earth energy here and things that you know, go on in life routinely that cause us challenge, fear, loss, you know. But there's a seed coming to you, a pentacle, a new path. So this challenge could be the challenge of a new path or a new start, a new beginning, but that seed's there. And Alcyon is the god of goddess of grace and courage, so there will be that energy, that spiritual energy, that energy that's in your soul. So I guess if you're having that gratitude, if you're seeing your strength of character, even if you got some fear or you're low, but really digging deep and saying, well, I'm strong, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm doing my thing. So have gratitude, you know, go from the smallest things, but build on that, and there's a sense of that fear will release, because sometimes we get in fear because we underestimate how strong we are, we underestimate how powerful we are, and we have difficulty trusting that life is going to turn you know, into the thing that we want it to. I mean, if you've had a breakdown within the family unit, you know, it's really hard to see a way out of that. It's really hard to imagine a happy ending or a homecoming. So, but a real sense of spirit saying, look, be patient with yourself. Okay, you got the Temperance card. She's another path, you see, but this is a path to illumination. It's about a balancing of all the elements, so balancing your mind, your emotions, your intuition, your soul, really. So, you know, you can do that by starting with that gratitude. However the circumstances seem, whatever that storm you're in, there's going to be respite from that storm if you dig deep that way and look at what you're grateful. But these are lovely cards, they're very hopeful cards. Okay, let's pull a few more. Right, so we got the Judgment card, we've got the Three of Pentacles, and we got the Magician. Look at that. Okay. So the Judgment card is a card of resurrection, you know. It is a card that says, you know, what appears to be dead will be raised. Now that doesn't mean you're going to get the situation. So if it is what I said about breakdown within the family unit, it doesn't mean you're going to, you know, get the person back. Nobody can know the future, but what we can know is that we can be resurrected. You know, we can have our hope replaced, we can gain strength and beauty from the difficult things that we've learned. There may be soul lessons in this situation, and if you're with this gratitude card, you know, if you do have that sense of gratitude for the cycles of life, And the fact that you're still moving on, you're still standing, you know, you're still looking for hope. And this is a card of hope in that sense, that things will be resurrected, things will move on from where they are now. So a real sense that, you know, I mean, this oracle actually speaks of having gratitude for the lessons you learn. Sometimes when we're in challenging circumstances, all we can grasp from them is learning and character development, because some things that are lost, you know, you'll never replace, you'll never, but there's a sense of not fearing that huge change, whatever it is, a sense of you're still there, you're still who you were, you haven't failed, you're just in a very difficult situation, yeah. Because under this Ace of Pentacles, you see, you've got the Three of Pentacles, which is a moving on, it is a change of circumstances. If you're feeling alone, this is a card of creativity. It's about co-creation. So there's a sense that you'll have that seed offered to you, a seed of a new beginning. But you will come to this place where there is co-creation. If you're struggling, say, with a project, and it feels like everything's falling apart around you, you know, or you don't know where next to go, Spirit's saying there's calm in the middle of that storm that's in your mind. If you center, if you center yourself and get out of your kind of, you know, your mind going around. When it's difficult, our mind just takes its own route, doesn't it, despite us. But there is that sense of there is others coming in to support, encourage, and to co-create with you, to rebuild things with you, or build something new. And under your Temperance, on the gratitude, if you're in that space and you look at your beautiful abilities, if you move within that gratitude and have thankfulness for things may have disappeared out of your life, but be thankful for what those things brought you, even if it was difficult lessons. If you're in that place with this balancing of the Temperance card, you got the Magician. Now the Magician is very aware of as above, so below. So he's aware of bigger cycles. And like the Temperance, it's a sense of getting all your elements, you know, your emotions, your intuition, your action, your mind, your feelings, your vision. It's about alchemizing all those things. So the Magician for me, with this read, with this overall energy here, is that you need to get into a centered place so that you can see all the elements that have gone on past, and you can not project the fears onto the future, but learn the lessons, and also learn the lessons of how beautiful, resilient, courageous, strong, capable you are. I have a sense Spirit really wants to bring a sense of grace to you, you know, that even if things go wrong, it doesn't mean, you know, that there's anything wrong with you. Sometimes life cycles go like that. They are difficult circumstances. And it is only with hindsight we can look back and say, I know what that was about. I know what sparked that situation. I know what happened there, you know. So it's grace in the middle of this challenge, people, and it really is grace. Those cards are extremely hopeful and graceful, so Spirit's demonstrating it with the cards, you know, that you've got what's needed. All the answers are within you. You know, you don't need to look any further than your heart. And if we begin with that gratitude, what it does is it lifts that negativity within us and enables us to see the optimistic thing. I mean, this is a card of bringing up, this wants to come out, a card, yeah, look, star, the card of bringing optimism, okay? So it's almost like digging deep for that optimism. I know that is incredibly difficult when you're in the middle of loss, sadness, challenge, fear, really hard. But this is a real encouragement to you, pile one. So you got the star. I mean, no better card than that either. This is breakthrough energy. It's Aquarian energy, so ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of independence, breakthrough, freedom, new beginnings. So, and also just that simple cliched sign of wish upon a star, you know, with this deep breath. It's, you know, focus on what you want, how you want life to be, and then don't get negative in thinking you can't measure up to that. Just dream big, dream what it is you want in your life. Everything's a cycle, yeah, and a sense of, you know, doing your work, completing your work. And that beautiful Empress, I mean, this is very hopeful read. So you have this real movement here under, you know, this beautiful Alcyon card. You've got the seed coming of the pentacle. It moves into the 3, which is like a co-creative energy, and then it moves on to an 8, which, you know, this is about getting back and working, and, you know, not always literal work. This can be kind of inner work or work with others. So a real sense of movement here. So this is your optimism, to focus on, you will, there's a saying, this too shall pass. You will move from that kind of stuckness and that fear. You know, if there's fear going on there for you, or sense of sadness, despair, loss, you know, with work, with applying ourselves, with the support of others, we can move from these difficult situations. You're going to get the grace and courage to do this. And on our temperance, the magician, you know, you got another, they're both major arcana, you got another major arcana, which is the Empress. And this gratitude, you know, talks about having gratitude for the cycles, for what's been, for what will be. And the Empress is kind of the queen of the cycles. She's Venus energy, but she represents the cycles, life, you know, birth, life, growth, death, regeneration. So she represents the cycles you see in nature. So a real sense with here about, if you get into that attitude, that sort of attitude of gratitude they call it, if you get into that, I know it seems cliched, but it does start lifting your spirits, it lifts your emotions, it puts your mind in a different track. So with all this balancing and bringing together and alchemizing and the cycles, this is going to be a way out to start moving. Even if you can only say thank you for the sunshine, you know, have that sense of thankfulness for the sunshine, the small things, you know, even if you can get into that sense of, today I'm going to find something to say thank you for, you'll find it, and that will be your way through to work with those cycles, to understand, to get insight. Let's pull you a daily healing card here to wrap it up, pile one. But yeah, real encouragement for any of you who are in that kind of difficulty. The thing with Alcyone, she was turned into a kingfisher that, you know, they're beautiful, stunning birds, you know. So all that difficulty was turned into beauty, really. Okay, let's get you a message here. Yeah, look, trust in divine order. You're being helped. You're being helped, Pile 1. So I hope that was helpful. Okay. Lots of love, Pile 1. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile 2. You chose the selenite there. Okay, let's have a look what you've got. Your first card, Archon Barbello. Okay, so this is the type of angel, goddess, divine mother, but she indicates hands over the heart, your sacred space, so your heart. So she's like she represents that powerful purity and truth of your being, your spirit, and the energy can correct any errors in judgment. And it's a promise of like a restoration of loss. Might not be restored in the original, you know, form it was in, but there's that sense of restoration. But the energy of this oracle card is pulling you back to, you know, your innate understanding and power of your heart, and to get you into true connection and direction. It's also about the sacred masculine and feminine, this oracle. So it can be about that, the androgyny, you know, the masculine and feminine nature of our spirit. So, you know, we may have the organs of a male or female, but spiritually we are both. So it's that kind of gender fluidity, but it's not gender, it's about your spiritual, yeah, basically saying spiritually we're neither male or female. Okay, so it's about the ability to use those, you know, those hugely powerful energies, masculine and feminine energies within you. So your kind of yin yang energies that reside in you. Yeah, so interesting. We'll have to have a look at the read to see how this applies. But yeah, okay. And then we have time machine. Okay. So this is about inherited patterns, conditioning, you know, cellular memories. So what's in our DNA, how our families, education, culture and our gender have conditioned us. It's about, you know, lessons learned in the past, and honouring the past, but a sense of not being trapped there. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking with this may be about a sense of limitation based on how we see masculine and feminine. Yeah, I'm not quite sure as yet, but the sense I'm getting, what Spirit's bringing here, is it's going to be about how you see yourself. So if you identify as female, then it can be how you're conditioned to see what a female is by your upbringing, by your culture, by your religion, by your you know, and that can be in your cellular memory. It can be something that goes back a long while. So I think Spirit's really pointing to here the ability to tap into that divine masculine feminine, that sort of energetic flow through, which is the true essence, our true soul essence. Our soul essence is neither male nor female as we see male and female. It's androgynous in that sense. So yeah. And your third card is fear. So it says, I realise I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. So there's that sense that all choices in life are about either love or fear. When you boil them down to their essence, choices we make are, you know, we either resolve to live in love or fear. So yeah, it's the outcomes, our outcomes in life, and whether they have been chosen out of fear or out of love. Okay, but if you embrace fear and stay within fear, it's very limiting. It's a big limitation. But if you go with love, and love is about love of yourself, yeah, so a real sense here that you may be at a point in your life where you're trying to make choices, and it could very well be centered around conditioning, what's at a cellular level, what's come from the past up to you, you know, and whether you're gonna stick by them because you're fearful of stepping out of that. Now that can be a range of things, but we do seem to be talking about this fluidity, this androgynous of spirit. So it seems to be around perceptions of masculine and feminine, and being able to move in a way that's not limited to how we've been brought up, but which honours who we really are. So it's an interesting message, but I'll dig a bit deeper with the tarot and see what else we have here. I mean, I was raised when, you know, the women's liberation, High Priestess just flipped over, when the women's movement was just about kicking off, before there was gender equality, you know. So I was raised during those times, but there was still a lot of messages. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, you know, you can be caught in those messages of what is masculine, what is feminine, you know, how a woman should be, how a man should be, because you were brought up in a tumultuous time when all those were being challenged. So yeah, so we got High Priestess there. So that's that speaks to me about our inner temple, the heart, yeah, which is where, you know, our whole authentic self is, that heart of love, or fear. There can be fear there. Wow, what an interesting message. So we got the High Priestess, we got the Knight of Cups, and we got Temperance. That came out in pile 1's Temperance. Okay, I mean, straight away under the Archon Barbello, you've got this masculine energy, but it's, yeah, it's kind of like a transformative energy of emotion and intuition. So a real sense of tapping into that emotion, understanding whether that emotion, in whatever area of your life you're holding any fear, and questioning, am I making my decisions out of a fear of stepping out into the unknown, you know, or am I you know, in fear and choosing to do things because it keeps me safe. It keeps me within those limitations of what I've been conditioned to look at as what is right, what is wrong, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. So a real sense of that plumbing in to that transformative emotion and intuition. Yeah, and also, yeah, see, we got the High Priestess. She's the guardian at the threshold of your heart. She's, you know, she's about the temple of your heart, behind the curtain. She's not about the material at all. She's about the law of spirit, the kind of sense of spirituality, of digging down in the deep, you know, going to the underworld, looking at the duality, you know, what is it our authentic heart wants, what is, and this Archon Barbello is a similar energy, because she's about purity and your innate power of your heart and spirit, purity of soul. So yeah, it is quite an intense reading this in this respect, but I really feel Spirit's asking you to dig into your heart and look at whatever your actions are. And this indeed could be to do with sexuality. You could be in a place where you've conformed to a gender role, or you've conformed to heterosexuality, and you're fearful of stepping out of what is authentically in your heart, you know, how you are innately. So it could be to do with that, but it could equally be to do with, you know, not being able to employ, because we got this temperance here under fear, and this is really about balancing the elements. It's about illumination, it's about patience, it's about the ability to see through. You see the third eye there, yeah, an illumination of the sun. So this really is about illumination and being able to see through the material of life, you know. And when we're brought up, you know, if you're brought up in a family, which a lot of people were when I was growing up and before my childhood, you know, brought up to you know, little girls play with dolls, little boys play with cars, you know, this can be a huge conditioning on us, and we don't actually feel that. I was always called a tomboy, you know, because I enjoyed a lot of things that boys enjoyed. I know now we got less, you know, there's a big discussion about gender roles and gender fluidity and sexuality, but I think to keep this, because this is a general read, is to keep this about, are you limiting yourself out of a fear because you've been conditioned in some way? So that can tap into anything, but specifically about you know, gender roles. Yeah, I can't get away from it. Spirit's not letting me get away from it. But if you're in this situation, you know, these are issues that you need to be talking with someone who can truly help you through those situations, because they're incredibly difficult situations. Oh, let's have those. They've all flopped out, so we'll have those. Yeah, look. Okay, so under our beautiful High Priestess, we have the sun. So we have this sense of, you know, again, this path of the sun, this illumination, the sense of, if you go within your heart and you're really connecting with your true self, not about what you've been taught or conditioned or society says is acceptable or not acceptable, you know, but you go within and you look at your heart, you look at your passion, you look at your soul, you look at where you want to go, who you want to be, and allow that illumination to come. That you may have already done that, which is why the fear is there, because to actually step into your authentic self is always fearful, especially if you think others or society have got an expectation on you. It can be as simple as, you know, moving out. That's not simple, but moving from one spiritual belief to another, you know, can cause incredible fear. If you've been brought up culturally, you know, even if you're listening to a tarot read and you were brought up in a religion that said tarot's evil, you know, it causes fear. These are not good things. But there's a sense of spirit asking you to really tune into what your authentic beliefs are, what your authentic values are, and to move from that. And we have the Page of Swords and we have the Page of Wands, which are learning energies. You know, Page of Wands is about your feeling, your vision, your passion. He's also got the pyramids in the background, so that to me speaks of an ancient knowledge. So going back to that time machine, you know, it's honouring the ancient lineage you've come from, but not to move into a place of fear, because your authentic self doesn't align with that. There's that real sense. And the Page of Swords, you know, are learning about your mind. You've got your emotions here with the Knight of emotions and intuition with the Knight of Wands, and then you've got the Swords, which is about the mind. So again, it's a learning to bring the heart and mind together, you know, to not be run by your mind, what you think or have been taught, been conditioned to believe is right or wrong, but to learn that you can be many things that don't fit into your upbringing, your culture, your belief system right now. So a sense of really letting spirit, letting that Archon, Barbello, bring that purity, you know, to see the pureness of your essence, of your being. Because our spirits, you know, our souls, our spirits are not conditioned. They're authentic. There's an authenticity and a huge power there when you stand in your soul center. Yeah, power to express and be who you really are, whatever that may be. And we're all unique. Unique and beautiful we are, people. But if we don't move within our authenticity, you know, we can end up living outside of a beautiful purpose that can bring so much to other people. So we have the Seven of Cups, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and we have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, you see, there's choice. We can look at this card, this seven, see all the choices there. But again, there's clouds of illusion. Okay, there's clouds, or there are clouds which are clouding his ability to make a right choice. So, but this is sitting with, you know, the High Priestess, which is the, you know, she represents the guardian of the inner temple to me. So she's that beautiful, insightful, behind the veil, and that illumination of the person, the sun. And there's illusion here, okay, or at the very least a confusion to know what to choose. But then we have our Nine of Pentacles, which is a sense, if you submit to your authentic self, you can have that independent abundance. This is about someone who has the ability to stand in their own power abundantly, independently. She's got a hawk there, so that's a higher perspective, a higher sight. yeah. But it can also speak to your difficulties, your fear of you know, other people. So you may be isolating yourself in that, you know. But I think this more speaks about with this, you know, the transformational emotional energy, and the Page of Swords, the learning to deal with your mind. This has more to do with you moving through all that and standing independently and going, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. It's who I am. It's who I'm going to continue to be. And there's the Queen of Swords, you know, sitting with our Temperance and the Page of Wands. You know, she's learnt vision, she's learnt passion, she's learnt to hold on, she's learnt to balance, she's learnt to overcome her fears. She knows exactly who she is, you know. And this is the reflective feminine energy. It's reflective of mind. So if you can see, she holds it in her right hand. Right-brained is feminine. So she's wielding a sword. Yeah, she's got a hand open, you know. She's got that beckoning energy to her. She's also got a sword. So she's balanced, okay. But under the fear card, this could be your fear of an energy in your life, whether it's a person or a circumstance or your culture, religion, belief, that is critical, and your fear of criticism of you know, someone who's cutting and critical. So I couldn't get that out. So it could be that energy that you're fearing. But actually, if you become that energy, if you open your intuition, you know, see behind the veil with that High Priestess, be illuminated by the sun, you know, that's masculine illumination. You've got the feminine High Priestess. You can use that sword to cut through the rubbish that's, you know, that is putting you in that fear. Yeah, so quite a heavy and interesting message, but Spirit's basically saying to you here, you know, you are, in a sense, you can be conditioned, you can be moving in a way which is just a projection of what you've been educated, conditioned by your culture, family, education, but you know, that can bring you fear of actually being your authentic self, because this Archon Barbello has got that purity of heart, the authenticity of your masculine, feminine soul. But Spirit's saying here, you can move through any illusions you've got, any confusion, any, you know, not knowing where to go, into an independent abundance and that kind of balanced beauty that you know, Temperance brings, and that Queen of Swords can give you. So take heart. You're being moved into an authenticity within your spirit. So yeah, and you have to apply that as it applies, because it's a general read, which is why I'm trying not to be too specific. But they're the energies, so apply those energies, and you know, you're going to be an incredibly strong person, beautiful spirit. Our lifestyle and the way we like to be, so long as it's within that energy of love, it doesn't matter. You know, go and regularly eat custard pies up a tree. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, if that's going to bring you joy, beauty, love and bliss. There we are. You are an I. Okay, spirit. I am present is your spiritual essence. Use this higher aspect of yourself to redeem your shadow aspects. And the shadow aspect here is the fear. Okay, so if you settle into that heart energy, I mean, look at her. Now that is one determined face, isn't it? I always look at her and think she's going to do exactly as she wants. That's the energy you need to get into. That, you know, to be determined to achieve what you want to achieve and to authentically be yourself, whatever that looks like. If that's coming from your heart and it's coming from a place of love, it doesn't matter. You can be like her. Look, here I am. I'm doing what I want. I actually think she mirrors to a degree this Queen of Swords, you know, standing in her authentic authority, pure, beautiful crystal. There you go, pile 2. It's your reading. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Hello, pile 3. You chose the rose quartz point. Okay, so let's have a look at your reading. Your white light card. Ah, beautiful. You've got Shekinah, number 6, Shekinah. Beautiful card, one of my favourites in the deck. She typifies white light. She actually, Shekinah is the Hebrew word for the dwelling place of the divine. And in the Kabbalah tree of life, she resides in the 10th Sephirot, which is Malkuth, which is our world. So really this card represents the embodiment of light. So it's about pulling that light into our souls to not live your spiritual life within concepts, but to actually embody that light. So it's applying your wisdom and principles, you know, your action, you know, taking courageous action and choices to bring compassion and healing and love in the world. So there's a sense when you're embodying this, it is to bring up, it will bring up shadow energies, you know, that block that flow of light. It's like putting a big chair in front of, you know, a candle and expecting there to be light. Is a real sense of, you know, when spirit comes in that way, especially this Shekinah divine energy, it is to embody, to bring light. I think there's a bit in the Bible that says you don't hide your light under a bushel, which means you've got to shine it. So a sense of pulling out obstacles, you know, not having concepts of spirituality, but actually embodying it. Yeah, so it's applying everything to your past that you've learned, but it's also about acknowledging your, excuse the dog, acknowledging your value as a person, you know, as a soul, and the gift that spiritual path brings you. So it's allowing that light to integrate every aspect of your life, the whole of your life, you know, your work life, your home life, your meditation, whatever ritual practice you've got. So yeah, this Shekinah is definitely about embodiment of light, and the dog agrees, he's still barking. And then you've got Smoke and Mirrors. This is from the 7 energy deck, and it's actually light energy. So it's all about light for you, pile 3. Okay, so this is the ability to see past conditioning. Yeah, it can be about the inability to recognize the spiritual light, you know, smoke, mirrors. But yeah, and moving beyond this sense of being separate, you know, we all live in bodies. Here's my body, there's yours, you know, we see separation. So with this oracle, it is about seeing beyond that separation. you know, almost viewing the world as this quantum entanglement I've got there, you know, the sense that we are all interconnected. Everything at an atomic level is interconnected. So the ability to see past that. And this oracle kind of brings a message that the whole world is like smoke and mirrors, and our spiritual work, and same with Shekinah, is actually embodying spirit and a higher wisdom in action to be able to move in a place and move in such a way that we're shining a light that's a healing light, you know, a light of love and light, they say. And that is, you know, that's an overused phrase, love and light, but it's profound actually, that phrase, if you really sit and meditate on it. We're supposed to embody love, healing, light, beauty, harmony. I mean, it's a tall order. So this smoke and mirrors is, you know, that sense of seeing past the separation, to move from just concepts and your mind of a spiritual path and dropping into your heart, kind of bringing your heart and your mind together. There's that thing called heart-brain coherence. That's ideal, you know, in terms of amalgamating, merging your heart and brain. So, and also your left and right back brain, not just your, you know, rational, logical, analytical left brain, but also your intuitive, visionary, imaginative right brain. So the feminine and masculine aspects. But yeah, so we have to start with ourselves and not see ourselves, you know, as body, you know, separate within ourselves. Our body, our mind, our emotions, our soul, we're one. And we're not just one within ourselves, we're a unity within ourselves. We're also a unity with all that you can see. We're not separate from it. So that smoke and mirrors brings that, with the Shekinah, is bringing that sense of, you know, seeing the divine, embodying the divine feminine and the divine masculine, excuse me, embodying it so that you can bring light, healing, compassion. But we've got to start with ourselves. So with smoke and mirrors, it's asking us to look at what's within us that, you know, can be like, you know, I'll tell you what's coming into my mind. You know, when beavers build dams, it can almost be like spirit asking us to look at the dams that we've built within us that inhibits that flow of love, light, healing, compassion, empathy. But it starts with having all those things ourselves. So this pile 3 may be the seat of the difficulties. So guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist my soul's growth. You know, exactly. It's not just your soul's growth, it's allowing that flow of spirit. You know, we grow as we allow that flow of spirit, and we allow spirit to remove the smoke and mirrors. And guilt can be, you know, there's guilt is not right, it's not wrong. Guilt, we can feel guilt when we've genuinely done something wrong. You know, we all feel it, we've all experienced guilt, and we've all done something wrong at some point in our life, and we'll probably continue to do things wrong and have that sense of guilt. If it's that guilt of your conscience that, you know, makes you aware that you may have hurt someone or done something wrong, it might even be towards yourself, you know, but that's healthy. And it's healthy if you use that to, you know, go ask for, you say sorry to someone if you've hurt them. Look at yourself, look at the pattern that caused that, you know, what triggered that action, you know, action that hurt someone else or hurt yourself, you know, use it that way, you know, and then let it go. When you've done that, you can let that go, but you can stay in that guilt. And the other way is guilt can be really insidious. It can be this smoke and mirrors. It can be like that wolf in sheep's clothing, you know. So it can come in as you've done something wrong here, you know. It can feel spiritual, you know. You know, you've, especially if you're in a religion, you know, it can say you've sinned against yourself, against God, or against someone else. That guilt can come in almost spiritually. That can be the smoke and mirrors. Okay. Yeah, so it's really about allowing yourself, you know, to embody that spirit, to see what's in the way, whether it's guilt or any other harmful emotion, you know, something that's harming you. As I said, guilt is healthy if you do something about something you've done wrong, but it's not healthy when it's a kind of sense of condemning yourself, you know, feeling really bad about yourself. That's the wolf in sheep's clothing then. That's smoke and mirrors. So real sense of embodying spirit, not just having it as a concept in your head, but to see that you're unified by that spirit, you know, everything is interconnected, and allowing that embodiment for the love and the light and the flow of spirit to come out of you. So we dig a bit deeper with the tarot and see if there are any other messages. It seems a message of encouragement, really, or for you to kind of look at, yeah, look straight away, smoke and mirrors. This can be a card of illusion that's come out under smoke and mirrors. So I think Spirit is asking you to kind of dig into your spiritual wisdom, dig into your heart to see what is right. Not right and wrong, but what is illusion and what is reality, spiritual reality. Yeah. So especially if you're feeling that guilt, you know, dig into that, allow that to rise up, sit with it and see if there's any basis. Have you really done something to hurt yourself, to hurt someone else? Yeah. If you have, just decide to make that recompense, you know, to say sorry, apologise, even to yourself, and then let it go. But if it's a guilt that's kind of hammered you for years, and that can really happen, and it gets bigger and bigger and more complex and very difficult to get out of mentally, you know, drop to the heart. You're wise, yeah, you're very wise. We're all very wise. We're much wiser, and we have recourse to spirit that gives us the wisdom that's needed. Yeah, look. Okay, so you're going to get an end to that guilt if it's smoke and mirror guilt, okay, and an end to that guilt if it's you know, something on your conscience. You're going to find the wisdom. You're going to learn. You're going to learn intuitively. You've got the Page of Cups, and you're going to learn, you know, what emotions are kind of this smoke and mirror emotions, or the guilt that's, you know, the wolf in sheep clothing, because that illusion is ending. That's an end of cycle for you, okay? So that darkness that may have come about through the guilt is going to lift if you'll listen to your heart, if you'll move in that spirit of Shekinah. You know, it's the dwelling place of the divine feminine, and it's here in this world, you know. So listen to your heart, people. Don't be trapped, whether it's guilt or any other feeling that you know, doesn't help you in growing in love, joy, peace, all those good things, you know, so you can bring beauty to other people. It's the whole purpose of it, because we're all connected. Okay, yeah, so under your here we have the Master of Illusion, okay, under your Seven of Cups. Yeah, so a real sense of, you know, these people are tied here, okay, but they can lift them chains off. They're tied to the material, so there could be a real sense with you here that you're being hoodwinked, you know, you're being brought into that kind of clouded. It may be, you know, if you've got a sense of guilt, there's a real kind of cloud. You don't know which move to make because you're in that energy of smoke and mirrors. You may feel you're cut off from divinity. I can tell you from my own experience, when that guilt comes in, it can get so ingrained in you that you don't even feel you can go to source, whatever you call that, your higher power, because that guilt has become such a huge complex obstacle, because you've been had by that, and it can be difficult, and the only way through that, as I said, is to seriously see if that original sense that brought that guilt, you've done the right thing, you've apologized. It's as simple as that, you know. And even if that person hasn't accepted that, that is their responsibility to either accept or reject it. Okay, that's their responsibility. But if you've done that, then you need to, this is swords. So that's mind, yeah, that's mental energy, okay. And I see this as the ego, you know, it's kind of pinned the ego to the ground. So once you've done what you need to do, if it's true, you know, a true conscience guilt because you've, I don't know, whatever it is, it can be small, big, whatever, but once you've kind of done what you can to put that right, then you need to let that ego get pinned to the floor, you know, put your swords down. But this is an end of cycle, so it is Spirit saying there's an end of cycle. Yeah, there's messages coming from you. This divine is going to bring you messages, yeah, that you're learning, that you're just learning. We're all learning. Yeah, and you've got a new beginning. Look at that, beautiful. This is a beautiful message for you. So you got the end in there, the end of that kind of anxiety, mental anxiety that guilt brings, you know, that kind of stops you moving, stops you enjoying life. But there's an end to it, and the Fool is the new beginning. He's like the cosmic egg, the seed of all potentiality. So beautiful. There's messages coming for you that will relieve you of that guilt, but drop from the mental space. But I done that, and they said that, and I said that. That kind of, you know, that really rapid mental space, which is this smoke and mirrors. It is this illusion and entrapment. Drop from that into your heart. You know, just drop in your heart and listen to what your heart is saying, not your head. Okay, and that can work with any emotion. And know that you're not separate. You know, even mass murderers are not separate from source in that sense, because we're all one entity. I'm not making excuses for that. I'm just saying, I'm sure you're not a mass murderer listening to this. But, you know, you can deal with whatever it is you've done wrong, but you do need to get out of that headspace, because that headspace will lead you into that illusion, into that smoke and mirrors. That Shekinah Divine Feminine is constantly available for all of us to tap into, and it brings resolution, healing, beautiful things into us, and you know that you're loved. And if you can't, you know, you can't move towards that, get some support and help for it. Talk it through, you know. That's a difficult one if it's guilt, you know. Sometimes we just have to let ourselves be a bit vulnerable and talk with someone we really trust. But ultimately, you can talk to Source and that smoke and mirror will lift. Because Source will never tell you you're condemned or you're a lost cause. Source will tell you you're beautiful, you're learning, you're on a journey, you're full of potential. You don't need to stay in it, you can move out. Yeah, Knight of Swords. So yeah, that energy is going. He's coming with his sword to cut through all that stuff going on in your mind. Yeah, fast energy, fast messages, you will get them. The Lovers, balance, beauty, harmony there for you. Yeah, and this, you know, this guilt, this situation that's caused guilt was this to you. Okay, Tower moment, that place where everything falls around. But remember, there's end of cycles and there's that new beginning for you. So, you know that you're not separate, know that you're not cut off from divinity, from Source, from your higher self, from the all that is. You are part of that. And you'll have that smoke and that mirrors and that kind of, you know, all those things that are like in the way, that beaver's dam in the way to the flow of that beautiful Shekinah embodied spirit. Take heart, pile 3. Beautiful times ahead. Shekinah brings real healing energy to your heart. We are all beautiful souls in the world learning. It's as simple as that, and we all make mistakes. Okay. Yeah, to feel your innate sense of truth, develop open-mindedness. That doesn't mean be open, but if you're stuck in guilt or any that kind of negative pattern or cycle of thinking that brings you into that illusory, confused, smoke and mirror energy, know that if you open your mind, maybe it's just to hear it's okay, doesn't matter what mistake you made, you were learning. The question I always ask if I'm in any of those places is, what was my heart intention? Was it to harm? Or did I make a mistake? Often mistakes due to how we are in that moment, you know, we've flipped out or whatever it is. But yeah, be open-minded, allow spirit to change your mind about the beauty of your soul and that sense of oneness with all that is. Okay, pile 3, hope that was helpful. Lots of love. Bye bye. Hello, pile 4, you chose the Citron. Okay, let's have a look at your cards. The White Light Oracle. Oh, beautiful. You got Ein Sofer. Okay, so Ein Sofer in the Hebrew Kabbalah is the ultimate emanation. It's above the tree of life, so it's kind of like that making something out of nothing. So it's the beginning of manifestation. It's kind of like the absolute. So I think this oracle speaks about pulling a rabbit out of a hat, bringing something out of nothing on a cosmic scale. Okay, so it's a really spiritual card in that sense. But it's also about finding a way, or that a way through any struggle has been created, and it's already there. You may not see it right now, but it's already there, and you're in the process. Whatever the external circumstances look like, you're in the process of being led onto that path. And it's an authentic soul path. So there's that real sense of, you know, focusing on your heart, grounding into your heart, listening to intuition, listening to spirit, however you connect to spirit, or, you know, to the quantum field, however, whatever your practice and tradition is. But basically it's about, you know, digging into the simplicity of spiritual truth. So, you know, love, kindness, peace, compassion, empathy, that sort of thing. So not to be dazzled with your path, or distracted by what comes, you know, because this is a very spiritually powerful card. So and it's that receptivity, okay, because this card is almost like white light magic. It's the card of the alchemist. It's the card of, well, it's beyond the alchemist. It's yeah, it's a very spiritual card. So it's you know, being open to spirit, wide open. I mean, you can see the light in her crown. There's that sense of higher wisdom, higher knowledge, but also placing that wisdom and knowledge that's from source, above our own opinions, okay. We can't control or dictate how that comes. Our soul path is almost like our blueprint of why we're here. So it's a real, you can see her in this card, she's laid down in surrender. She has her hands open and she's receiving via her crown. So the Ein Sofer is just higher, much higher source wisdom. Yeah. So yeah, interesting, people. We'll have a look at your next card. That's from the Seven Energies Oracle. Oh, look at that. Power of Purpose. So I think this is from the energy of fire, which really goes with the Ein Sofer, because excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Because in the Kabbalah tree of life, the upper Sephiroth are fire. It's fire energy, one's energy. Yeah, so it's vision, passion, power, power of purpose. So this talks about your unique place in the world, you know, your authentic purpose. This talks about your authentic soul path. So they're talking about the same thing. But it's also about letting go of the conditioning that you have. So, you know, anything that gets in the way, your opinions, the way, your beliefs, your upbringing, your belief in how the world is and should be. There's almost like a sense you need to let go of control. She's in a place of surrender. So yeah, to be able to celebrate who you are in your totality, your authentic, individual, unique self, but also knowing that, you know, we come into this world for a purpose, you know, and that purpose is destined for you and you alone, okay? So if you're in this place right now where, you know, you got this thing taken hold of you and you're asking the question, you know, who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? There's a real sense here that you're being led. very much into that position, and it's sometimes an uncomfortable position because we can't work it out with our minds. This is not mind energy. We can employ our minds, you know, in terms of being able to take action towards something, but the actual revelation of our soul path comes from spirit. It comes from the Ein Sofer. So yeah, you as an authentic individual, yeah, sorry, I've really got a frog in my throat. You as an authentic individual and your authentic soul path, which is divinely purposed, is what we're talking about, powerful. And your last card is in indecision. Yeah, so this is often the way with this, when we're drawn onto our soul path, onto our true purpose, we go through this because we have a sense when that comes to us that it's important we make the right decision. Okay, so we can end up in that indecisive energy, you know, what if I do this and it's the wrong path, what if I do that? But it's saying to use your intuition in all aspects of your life. And again, that's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to know whether it's your mind or your intuition telling you. But yeah, again, this card is about, you know, spirit manifested into the physical. And the fact that, you know, that trust and surrender to spirit, who knows what's best for you. The dogs agreeing now, look, barking. So it's listening to your inner voice. So this is really, if you're in this path, and you're probably already doing it, you really need to get practice that can take you to that quiet place, to listen to your heart, to listen to spirit, to tune in, you know, to move yourself out of the noise of life on a regular basis, even if it's for 5-10 minutes, you know, in the morning, and 5-10 minutes at night, sort of quiet in your mind that mental function that tells you you need to do this, this is the way, you know, and getting in that indecisive energy that you're fearful of what way you can tread. Okay, so let's dig a bit deeper with the tarot, powerful. Beautiful message though. It's powerful energy, and that's why it leaves us indecisive, because we almost get a bit fearful of stepping the wrong way when we feel there's a call on us. Yeah, and if it's divine, it's a call. It feels like a call, so there's a sense of going the right way. Okay, we got one out already. Another and another. Okay, right, yeah, here's your indecision. Spirit seems to be saying the indecision, this Five of Pentacles, is a sense of being left out in the cold. It's a consciousness of lack. You can see these people, but you know, I see this as a stained glass window at church, so you could go in there. I'm not saying the divine only rests in a church, but it's to me that represents kind of temple, so that could be your heart. You know, you only, if you're in your head, you may have that consciousness of lack. And then we got the Five of Wands, which again is an energy of you know, sort of conflicted energy. They're both energies that need developing, need to move on. So yeah, and that sits under your indecision. So you may feel this kind of inner battle, you know, you may have those 5 visions, you know, and you're going, do I do this, do I do Reiki, do I, you know, go and abroad and serve in a humanitarian and it can be small things, but how do I move on that path? You know, is this practice right? Is that practice right? So yeah, very difficult time, but take heart. Anyone who's on a soul path goes through this, goes through that indecision. And the way to look at it is, it's probably because it's a genuine call and your concern is to align with that. So it's nothing to be worried about if you're in those energies, okay? But know that those energies will pass if you drop into your heart, okay? If you surrender. And sometimes it's a case of taking a step out, because I found you do what is in front of you and it's your heart condition. How are you doing it? Are you doing it with love? Are you doing it to serve? Are you doing it with kindness, with patience, you know, in that? And if you're doing that, really the activity you do doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you know, nothing in your life changes. This, you know, that can be, and you've got this learning, you know, even if nothing in your life changes, but you've got that sense of being opened up to divine source, to God, whatever you call, that's something that's greater than you. You know, when you open up that way, if you surrender, if you're not doing any particular thing, we always translate it into action, and that's often where our indecision comes, instead of being. So there's a sense of learning that what it is not what you do, the exact thing you do. It is about surrendering your heart, opening out your heart and allowing the flow of that energy, the Ein Sof energy, which is pure light, letting it wash through you, and knowing that when your heart is surrendered in that way, whatever you do, whether it's you know, going to work every day in cleaning, or going to work in your normal job, whatever that is, you will fulfill that purpose, because it's actually your way of being that becomes the healing channel. And spirit will bring things in front of you which you'll try, and sometimes won't be exactly where you need to be, but you need to trust that you'll be alerted when you're in the wrong place. That kind of takes the pressure off. You learn then that it's about a way of being rather than what you're doing. Your purpose is to be here, to enjoy life, to love others, to show compassion, to you know, that brings healing and love to everyone around you. So a real sense of that, you know. Or the other thing with this consciousness of lack, this feeling left out in the cold, which you would do if you're indecisive, it may be that you have got a real clear sense of your purpose and you're feeling you haven't got what it takes to move in that direction. You know, say you're called to, you're feeling really called to teach or heal, or and you're thinking, I don't know, I can't do it, I don't think I'm ready. Yeah, so again, that's submitting and trusting. Where you're called to, you'll be equipped to do it. So yeah, two kind of messages there, but don't worry about getting it wrong, because spirit will clearly tell you when it's wrong. And even if, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong if your heart is open, you know, and your purpose is to love, to serve, to bring compassion and healing, then nothing you do will be wrong in that sense, whatever it is. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we you've got the Three of Swords there. We've got the Nine of Cups, and we'll pull another one. And we've got the Ten of Cups, okay. Okay. So this Three of Swords, this can be kind of real pain, it can be despair, it can be disappointment, heartbreak, okay, and that would leave you in that sense of being left out in the cold, in that consciousness of lack. But actually Spirit's saying, you know, if you don't feel you're able or up to, they are the exact things. You know, that wounded healer, they are the exact things that qualify you to move into healing, that sense of knowing what it is to experience feeling alone, feeling left out, feeling a lack. But there is a sense that you need to allow Spirit to come into that, to show you who you are, and you're powerful beyond measure. Really, you are powerful. And again, with this Three of Swords, although it looks painful and there's rainy clouds, it can also be seen that that disappointment, that kind of heartbreak, that difficulty, is the way Spirit brings our heart and mind together. Can you see? So actually, those difficulties, that stormy difficulty, that heartbreak and pain, it puts our mind on the back seat and it raises our feeling, and that can be awful and it can feel like your heart's being pierced, but actually it is a pass through to bring your heart and mind together, that heart-brain coherence. I go on about it a lot, but it's so powerful. It is such a powerful way to move into a flow of spirit and a flow of love, compassion and empathy towards yourself first. You've got to bring that towards yourself first, and you've got to be, you know, individual, know who you are within that spiritual power, know your identity, know your spirit, know who you are, because that's what you're going to submit for use. You know, to be used, your vessel and everything you are as a unique being to be used. And this is wish fulfilled, you know, this is your emotional life, you know, emotional fulfillment for you. And the progress, when you've surrendered this situation and your purpose to the divine, and you've learned the lessons, you know, you move from a 9 to a 10, and that's promise. And that promise is that even in that indecision, even in the conflict or confusion, battling, internal battling, you're going to have that stability. It's a promise. It's a promise of balance. It's a promise of completeness, yeah. And it's an end of cycle of the difficulties that you've been in. But it can often be the path of spiritual path can be a difficult one. Well, not can be, it is a difficult one. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's a difficult path, and it can be that real painful path. Oh, but yeah, it's also so beautiful, and you will find that purpose and direction, and spirit will shine through you, basically. Okay. Let's have a look. So we got 3 of Pentacles, yeah, co-creation. You got the 7 of Wands there, and you've got the Page of Pentacles. Okay, so you've got 2 pages here. So yeah, you've got a Page of Wands, which is vision, feeling, passion. You've also got the Pentacles, which I think is all the elements, you know, it's what's going on in this world. And the pages for me represent learning in this world, learning from our experiences. And there's a sense of valor there. So Spirit's saying he knows, why do I say he? Spirit knows that you're standing your ground, that you're doing your best, that you're wielding your fire and your passion and your wand. Spirit knows that about you. That will be rewarded, you know, and you're learning. You need to understand that it's learning. We never stop learning. Nobody on the spiritual path has got the A to Z of how God works. Just isn't. We're always in the page position, okay? So don't worry about your indecision. Just surrender it, you know. Surrender it to that Ein Sofer. Know that it's your heart purpose, it's love, compassion, giving, and as long as that is where you're at and you're clearing out the obstacles, indecision can become confusion, it can become guilt, it can become, you know, all sorts. So you need to lift that up and say, look, Spirit, help me, I'm learning, help me, show me what I need to do. But I can guarantee you, if you drop down into that heart, if you join your mind with your heart, you surrender it and you say, you make a decision that you're gonna, everything you do is gonna be love and empathy and compassion as far as you are able. Spirit will come in, and Spirit will give you everything you need and direct your path, okay? So you don't need to worry. I'm going to pull you a Starseed card. See what your message is and wrap it up. There we are. Oh, you got two there. So your first card, release. Release anything that keeps you from your path of authenticity. Okay, so that's not a doing path, that's a being path. So this power of purpose is about individuation, it's about knowing who you are. So release anything that keeps you from that, okay? And strength. You're being guided by the cosmos, by the Ein Sofer. Stay strong and a positive outcome is assured. Okay? So just love from your heart, surrender your heart, love from your heart, move from your heart, and you won't go wrong. And that indecision will fall by the wayside. All right, pile 4. Hope that was helpful. Lots of love. Bye-bye.